Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are taking a trip. And I don't mean a road trip. I mean a trip that is, I think, going to fundamentally reorganize the way you look at your watch, your calendar, and maybe even your own life.
That's a big promise to start with.
It is a big promise, but I think our sources for today can back it up.
Oh, absolutely. We're diving into one of the most ancient, complex, and frankly, mind-bending mythological systems in human history.
We are looking at Hindu cosmology,
And specifically, we're honing in on the concept of kala.
which means time, right?
It means time, but it's not time as in I'm 5 minutes late for a meeting. It means time as, well, as a deity. Time as a force of nature. In some texts, time is the thing that eats the universe.
The Wheel of Eternity. That's what we're calling this. And the reason we picked this topic for our deep dive series on mythology is because of the sheer scale of it all. I was reading through these notes this morning, and I genuinely had to put my coffee down because the numbers, they just stopped making sense to the human brain.
They really do. We're so used to thinking about history in terms of, centuries? Maybe millennia if we're feeling ambitious?
Right. The Roman Empire was about 2,000 years ago. The pyramids, maybe 4,500.
And in the system we're discussing today, 4,000 years is. It's a rounding error. It's barely a blink. We are going to be talking about cycles that last for 311 trillion years.
Cillian, with a T.
Exactly. We're going to talk about a universe that literally breathes in and breathes out.
So the mission today is to break your brain a little bit. We want to take you out of that linear timeline you live in, Monday to Friday, birth to death, and drop you onto a carousel that never, ever stops spinning.
And we should mention this is part of our ongoing series looking at global mythologies. We've covered Greek tragedy. We've looked at the fatalism in Norse myths. But this is something else entirely. This is the metaphysics of the infinite.
Let's start with that worldview then.
Yeah.
The whole origins of this thought process. Because, as someone raised in a basically Western framework, I have a very specific ingrained view of time. It's an arrow. It goes one way.
Exactly. It's linear. You have a distinct beginning. Let's call it the Big Bang or Genesis, whatever your model is.
A to B.
A to B. You have the messy middle part, which is where we are right now. And then there's a definitive end, a heat death of the universe or a judgment day. It's a narrative structure, really. It's like a movie. It starts, you watch the plot unfold, the credits roll, and then you leave the theater.
And the Hindu view says, no, don't leave the theater. The movie's just going to start over again.
Precisely. It's cyclical. Think about the seasons. You have spring, summer, fall, winter, and then what happens?
Spring again.
Spring again. The ancient Hindu thinkers, the rishis, they looked at nature, the sun rising and setting, the tides coming in and out, the cycle of the harvest, and they essentially ask, why would the universe as a whole be any different?
So the universe itself has seasons on an unbelievable scale.
It has days and nights, it has periods of activity and periods of rest, it has births and deaths. This whole concept is called the Kala Chakra, which literally means the wheel of time. And here's the real kicker. It doesn't just spin, it repeats perfectly.
See, that's where I get a little bit of Arctic, existential vertigo. If everything repeats, does that mean that we repeat? Is this exact conversation happening an infinite number of times?
That is the absolute central philosophical question of this entire tradition. It's deeply tied to the concept of samsara.
The cycle of birth, death, and rebirth.
Exactly. In the West, we often think of eternal life as the ultimate prize, right? You die, you go to heaven, you get a harp, you hang out forever.
Right. The good ending.
In this worldview, eternal life is actually the trap. It's the problem you're trying to solve. You are stuck on this cosmic ride. You're born, you live, you struggle, you love, you die, your memory gets wiped, and then you do it all over again.
So the goal isn't to stay on the ride. The goal is to get off.
That's it. That is moksha, liberation from the cycle. And the sources argued that the whole reason they calculated these massive, incomprehensible timescales wasn't just for some kind of intellectual, mathematical exercise. It was a tool.
It's a tool for what?
To crush the ego.
Crush the ego. How so?
Well, think about it. If you are stressed out about your job or a political election or a bad breakup, it feels like the end of the world, doesn't it? It feels all-consuming.
Of course.
But if you zoom out, really zoom out, and realize that this exact human drama, with all its tiny variations, has played out 1 trillion times before and will play out 1 trillion times again,
Well,
your problem suddenly looks, microscopic. It loses its sting.
so it's a kind of therapeutic nihilism. In the grand scheme of things, this doesn't matter, so relax.
In a way, yes. The Bhagavad Gita, one of the key texts, has the deity Krishna literally identify himself with time. He says, Kala, I am the destroyer of worlds. But recognizing that destruction is just a built-in part of the cycle allows you to detach. It's not about not caring. It's about realizing you're an actor in a play that has a very, very, very long runtime.
Okay, I want to get into the mathematical architecture of this because this is the part that really blew my mind. Usually when we talk about ancient mythology, we're dealing in poetic language, many moons ago or in the time before time. But these texts, things like the Surya Siddhanta, the Puranas, they are hyper-specific.
They're obsessed with precision. It's actually startling when you first encounter it.
You highlighted this tiny unit of time called a truti.
Yes, the pruti. It's one of the smallest units they measure.
And how long is a truti? I'm almost afraid to ask.
Well, depending on the specific translation and calculation, it's about 133,750th of a second.
Wow.
Which works out to roughly 300 nanoseconds.
Nanoseconds. In a text that is thousands of years old, how? I mean, seriously, how? They didn't have atomic clocks. They didn't have lasers. How does a civilization without that kind of technology even conceptualize a nanosecond?
That is the great mystery, isn't it? Some scholars speculate it was derived from an intuitive, meditative observation, like the time it takes for a fine needle to pierce a stack of lotus leaves.
That is incredibly poetic for something so precise.
It is, but what it implies, mathematically, is that they viewed time as atomic. They had this intuitive grasp that time wasn't just this smooth, flowing river, but that it was granular. It had frames. It had pixels.
So they have the resolution down to the individual pixel. Now let's zoom all the way out to the hard drive capacity of the universe.
That would be the Mahayuga, the Great Age. This is the standard repeating block of cosmic time that forms the basis for all the larger calculations.
And that is?
One Mahayuga is 4,320,000 human years.
4.32 million years.
And that's just one cycle. It's like one day in the life of the cosmos. And inside that Mahayuga, there's a very specific, elegant structure. It's not just a flat block of time. It's a descending staircase.
This is that 4.3.2.1 ratio you mentioned in the notes?
Correct. The Mahayuga is divided into 4 smaller ages, or yugas. The first age is the longest, running for 4/10 of the total. The second is 3/10, and so on. But the duration also corresponds directly to the quality of life, the morality, the dharma.
So as the slice of time gets shorter, the world gets
significantly worse. It's a steady mathematical decline into chaos.
Okay, before we walk down this staircase of doom, there was one other detail in the notes about twilight zones. Sandia. This felt very, very engineering focused to me.
It really is. The texts say you can't just snap your fingers and switch from a golden age to a silver age. The cosmic shock, the change in frequency, would destroy the biology of the planet.
Right, it would be too abrupt.
So between every yuga, there is a buffer period, a dawn, called a sandhya, and a dusk, a sandhyamsa.
Like a clutch in a car. You have to disengage the gears before you shift, otherwise you strip them.
That is a perfect analogy. Each buffer period is exactly 10% of the age's total length. It allows for a gradual degradation or a gradual improvement on the way back up rather than a sudden cataclysmic drop. It's a very systems thinking approach to cosmology.
It's so methodical. Okay, let's talk about these 4 yugas, because the imagery they use here is fantastic. You said they use the metaphor of a bowl.
The bowl of Dharma, yes. Imagine that morality, or cosmic law, is a physical animal standing on 4 legs.
Okay.
The 4 legs represent 4 key virtues: truth, austerity or self-discipline, cleanliness or purity, and finally, compassion.
All right, so let's start at the top. The good old days, the Satya Yuga, the golden age.
The bull is standing strong on all 4 legs. Virtue is at 100%. The system is operating at peak performance.
And what does life look like here? Because the description of the humans, are they even human as we would understand it?
They're more like superhumans, or maybe demigods. The texts say the average height in the Satya Yuga was 21 cubits.
Which is?
Roughly 32 feet tall.
32 feet. That's the height of a 3-story building.
Can you imagine the caloric intake? But yes, giants. And they live for 100,000 years.
100,000 years? What do you even do for 100,000 years?
You meditate. That's the key. There was no labor. Nature provided everything you could possibly need. There was no disease, no real old age, no envy, no malice.
It sounds a little boring.
To us, maybe. To our agitated Kali Yuga minds, definitely. But the sources say there was almost no distinction between humanity and the divine. You didn't need temples. You didn't need rituals or priests. You just sat there and you knew. The barrier between me and God was virtually non-existent.
So it's a world of pure intuition, pure connection. But the wheel has to turn. Entropy has to kick in. So we enter the Treta Yuga, The Silver Age.
The ratio drops to 3. The bull lifts one of its legs. We lose the leg of austerity, of self-discipline. We're now down to 75% virtue.
And the physical specs drop, too.
Drastically. Lifespan plummets to 10,000 years. Height drops to about 20 feet. Still massive, but a significant downgrade. But the biggest change is psychological. In the Golden Age, there was no evil. It wasn't even a concept. In the Silver Age, you start to see the separation. This is why it's the age of the great warrior kings.
This is when Lord Rama appears, right?
Yeah.
The 7th avatar.
Exactly. And why do you suddenly need a warrior king? Because suddenly there are bad guys, there are demons, there are conflicts. Society needs structure, laws, and armies to enforce them.
And spirituality changes, too.
It has to, because people can no longer just know the divine through pure meditation. They have to start doing things to connect. This is the birth of the yajna, the elaborate fire sacrifice, with complex rituals and chants.
So ritual is basically a technology we invented to compensate for losing our Wi-Fi signal to God.
That is a perfect modern analogy. The signal got weaker, so we had to start building bigger and bigger antennas.
Okay, next step down the cosmic staircase. The Dvapara Yuga, the Bronze Age.
The bull is now teetering on 2 legs. We're at a perfect 50-50 balance. Half truth, half falsehood, half light, half dark. The word Dvapara itself relates to the number 2, to duality.
And the specs.
Lifespan is down to 1,000 years. Height is maybe 10 or 11 feet. Still huge by our standards, but the decline is accelerating.
And this is the era of the great epic, the Mahabharata.
Yes, the Great War. Lord Krishna appears here as the key avatar. And notice the trend in the conflict. In the Silver Age, it was pretty clear. We are the good guys, they're the demons. Simple. In the Bronze Age, it's messy. It's family fighting family. It's brother against brother over an inheritance. The line between good and evil now runs right through the human heart.
There's a fascinating detail here about the Vedas, the main holy texts being split up during this time.
This is one of my favorite parts. The great sage Vyasa looks at humanity in this age and essentially says, they're getting too dumb.
Ouch. A pretty harsh assessment.
Seriously. He realizes that our memories are fading, our intellect is weakening, we can't hold the entire download of the one Veda anymore, so he splits it into 4 separate books. The Rig, Sama, Yajur, and Atharva, just so we can digest the information. It's the first instance of dumbing down the curriculum for a declining student body.
And because those big, elaborate fire sacrifices are too difficult and expensive now, the primary mode of worship shifts again.
It does. It shifts to arcana. Temple worship, building idols, making offerings, treating the deity like an honored king or guest. It's more tangible, more physical, because our capacity for abstract thinking is fading.
Which brings us to the basement of the Mahayuga, the Iron Age, Kali Yuga.
The age we're supposedly in right now.
The bull is on one leg.
Just one leg left, the leg of truth, and it is shaking badly.
The start date for this is incredibly specific, isn't it?
Tradition pins it to the year 3102 BCE, right after the death of Krishna and the end of the Mahabharata War.
And the characteristics. I have to be honest, when I read the list of symptoms for the Kali Yuga in the Puranas, it felt like someone was just reading a newsfeed from this morning.
It is eerily accurate, isn't it? Hypocrisy and quarrel will be common. Rulers will be no better than thieves.
I saw one that said, men will act only for profit, and wealth alone will be the sign of high birth and good character.
And the physical decline is complete. Lifespan is capped at 100 years, if you're lucky. Height is reduced to our current size. Memory, shot, intelligence. It's still sharp, but it's primarily used for deceit and argument, not wisdom.
It really paints a picture of a world that is fast, loud, angry, and shallow.
And notice the final spiritual degradation. We can't meditate for 100,000 years like in the Satya Yuga. We can't afford the massive fire sacrifices with tons of gold and ghee from the Treta Yuga. We don't even have the focus and patience for proper, elaborate temple worship half the time.
So what's left for us? What's the spiritual prescription for the broken people of the Kali Yuga?
Sankirtana. Chanting. The simple, repeated chanting of the holy names of the divine. The idea is that the universe is now so dense, so heavy with negativity, that the only thing that can cut through the noise is pure sound vibration. It's the simplest path because we are, for lack of a better term, the simplest people.
That is incredibly humbling. We're in the remedial class of the cosmos.
We are absolutely the special needs class of the universe, and we've been given the easiest possible assignment.
I want to pivot here because we've talked about the timeline, but we've skipped the very beginning. Or I should say the beginnings, plural.
Yeah.
Because one thing that frustrated me and also fascinated me about these sources is that they don't all agree on how it started.
That's the beauty of it. Hinduism isn't a monolith with a single dogmatic creation story. It's more like a library with a whole section on creation myths. There isn't just one let there be light. There are multiple options depending on your philosophical taste.
Let's talk about my favorite one first, the Nasadya Sukta. It's from the Rig Veda, one of the oldest texts.
The hymn of creation, yes. It's a philosophical masterpiece.
It describes the state before the Big Bang. It says there was neither non-existence nor existence then. How can you even...
It's a paradox. There was neither death nor immortality. It's trying to describe a singularity, a void that is pregnant with potential. My favorite line is, darkness was hidden by darkness.
But the ending is what gets me. Most religious texts, when they talk about creation, they end with a period. God did it. Here's how. The end. This hymn ends with a giant question mark.
It's an act of radical agnosticism. It says, who really knows? Who can say where it all came from? The gods themselves came after the creation, so how would they know?
And then that final devastating line. Perhaps the one who looks down on it from the highest heaven knows. Or perhaps even, he does not know.
Think about the intellectual courage it takes to put that in your holiest scripture.
Right.
Maybe God doesn't know either. It suggests that the mystery of existence is so profound that even the creator might just be an observer of a process that is beyond even its own full comprehension.
Okay, now contrast that philosophical version with the Purusha Sukta, the cosmic man. This one is, well, it's messy.
It's visceral. It's very physical. It envisions the primordial reality as a giant cosmic being, the Purusha. And creation isn't a thought. It's an act of sacrifice. The gods literally dismember this giant.
They chop him up.
They chop him up, and his various parts become the components of the universe. His mind becomes the moon. His eye becomes the sun. His breath becomes the wind.
And his body parts become the social classes, the caste system.
Right. The Brahmins, or the priests and intellectuals, come from his mouth. The Kshatriyas, the warriors and rulers, from his arms. The Vaisyas, merchants, from his thighs. And the Shudras, the laborers, from his feet. It's a way of framing society as a single, interconnected organism. You need the head, you need the arms, you need the legs for it to function.
And then there's the third one, the Hiranyagarbha, the golden embryo.
This one feels the most scientific to our modern ears. It describes a glowing cosmic egg, the Hiranyagarbha, floating in the primordial waters. It holds all the potential energy of the cosmos, and then it splits. Bang. The top half of the shell becomes the heavens, the bottom half becomes the earth.
It's a singularity. It's the Big Bang.
It really is. A sudden expansion from a single point of infinite density and potential. It's an astonishingly modern concept.
Okay, so the egg cracks, the universe is here, now we need management. This brings us to the divine hierarchy, the big three, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva.
The Trimurti, often described as generator, operator, destroyer, God.
Let's start with Brahma, the generator, the cosmic architect.
Brahma is the engineer. He's the one who takes the raw material of the universe and fashions it into stars, planets, and living beings. But strangely, for the creator god, he's not widely worshipped.
We'll definitely get to why in a minute, but his creation style seems a bit temperamental. You mentioned the story of the mind-born sons.
This is a great story about the frustrations of parenting. Brahma, needing help to populate the world, creates 4 sons, the Kumaras, from his own mind. He tells them, okay, boys, your job is simple. Go forth, get married, have kids. Let's get this universe populated.
And they just say no.
They say, nah, we're good. They're born with such profound, innate wisdom that they have zero interest in the chaos of worldly life. All they want to do is be monks and meditate on the absolute.
And Brahma, he does not take this well.
He absolutely loses it. He is the creator, the ultimate authority, and his own first creations are defying him. His anger builds up in his forehead until it physically bursts out of him.
And what comes out?
A howling blue-red child. This is Rudra, which is the early, fierce, untamed form of Shiva.
So the destroyer is literally born from the creator's frustration with his own creation?
Exactly. Chaos is born from the failure of order to follow the plan.
Speaking of chaos, we have to talk about the earwax demons. When I saw this in the outline, I was sure it was a typo.
No typo. This is the wild legend of Madhu and Kaitava.
Please, set the scene for us.
Okay, so we're in a pre-creation state. The entire universe is a single vast ocean. Vishnu, the preserver, is sleeping on his cosmic serpent bed, and Nanta Shesha. He's in a deep cosmic slumber, dreaming the next universe into being.
Got it.
And as he sleeps, well, he apparently needs a Q-tip. Bit of earwax flows out of his ears.
That's surprisingly gross.
But this isn't normal earwax, it's divine earwax. It congeals in the cosmic water and solidifies into two powerful demons, Madhu and Kaitapa. And these guys are pure cosmic ego and aggression. They look around, see Brahma sitting on his lotus that's growing from Vishnu's navel, and they immediately attack him.
So Brahma screams for help, wakes up his boss.
Vishnu wakes up. He sees these two monsters literally made of his own gunk, and he fights them, but here's the catch. He can't kill them.
Why not? He's Vishnu. He's a supreme deity.
Because they're a part of him. It's a metaphor. You can't just fight your own inner demons, your own ego, head on. They fight for 5,000 years. It's a complete stalemate. Finally, Vishnu realizes he can't win with force. He has to use guile.
What does he do?
He stalks the fight and says, "Wow, you two are incredible. The strongest warriors I've ever faced. I'm so impressed. As a reward, ask for a boon. Anything you want, it's yours."
A boon. He's playing to their ego.
Totally. They get arrogant. They puff up their chests and say, "We don't need a boon from you. We are so great, you should ask us for a boon."
Yeah, and that's the trap.
Trap sprung. Vishnu smiles and says, "Okay, the boon I ask is that you let me kill you."
That's brilliant. Just genius.
But they're stuck. They gave their word. But they're clever. They look around and see nothing but water, so they add a condition. "Fine," they say, "you can kill us. But only on a spot where the ground is not wet."
Which is nowhere. The whole universe is an ocean.
Exactly. So Vishnu just expands his body to a cosmic size, picks them up, places them on his own thighs, which are now high above the water, and with his discus, he chops their heads off.
That is absolutely metal.
But here's the creation part of the myth. Their fat, the Sanskrit word is metas, leaks out from their bodies and coagulates on the surface of the cosmic ocean. That fat is what becomes the earth.
Wait a second. So the ground we are walking on is made of demon fat.
Mythologically speaking, yes. That's why one of the Sanskrit names for Earth is Medini. It suggests that the material world is made of this heavy, dense, discarded ego stuff. It's not made of pure light. It's made of the messy residue of a cosmic conflict.
I will never look at dirt the same way again. Let's move to Vishnu's main job then. The avatars.
Yeah.
We mentioned Rama and Krishna, but the full list of 10 major avatars, it reads like Darwin's theory of evolution, doesn't it?
It is uncanny. The parallel is so striking that people have been commenting on it for over a century. If you look at the sequence of the Dashavatara, the 10 avatars, it perfectly mirrors the progression of biological complexity on Earth.
Okay, walk us through it. Number 1.
First avatar, Matsya, the fish. Life begins in the water. This represents aquatic life.
Number 2.
Kurma, the tortoise, an amphibian. This represents life moving from the water onto land.
Third.
Varaha, the boar, a full land mammal, a powerful creature that roots in the earth itself.
Fourth. This one is my favorite.
Narasimha, the man-lion, half animal, half human. This is the perfect representation of the bridge between animal and hominid, the missing link, if you will. Vamana, the dwarf, an early, small, but fully formed human, perhaps representing early hominids like Australopithecus.
Sixth.
Parashurama, Rama with the axe, the angry wild man living in the forest. This could represent early tool-using man, the hunter-gatherer.
And then you get to Rama and Krishna.
And you get to civilized man, the establishment of law, ethics, politics, complex philosophy, and social structures. It's an incredible map of evolution written thousands of years before Darwin.
I want to double-click on Narasimha, the man-lion, because that story is like a cosmic logic puzzle.
It's one of the best myths in the entire canon. So you have this demon king, Hiranyakashipu. He performs incredible austerities and gets a boon from the creator god, Brahma.
He wants immortality, right?
Of course. But Brahma says, "Look, I can't grant that. Even I have to die eventually. It's against the rules." So the demon gets creative. He starts listing conditions. He says, "Okay, then grant that I cannot be killed by any man or any beast."
Okay. Covers the main threads.
And I cannot be killed inside a residence or outside a residence.
Tricky.
I cannot be killed during the day or during the night.
Closing all the loopholes.
And I cannot be killed on the ground or in the sky. And not by any weapon, living or non-living.
So he's invincible. He's hacked the system. He's found a way to cheat death.
He thinks so. And he becomes an absolute tyrant. He terrorizes the universe. But his own son, Prahlada, is a devout follower of Vishnu, the demon's mortal enemy. The demon tries to kill his own son repeatedly, but the boy is always miraculously saved. Finally, in a rage, the demon king smashes a pillar in his palace with his mace and shouts, "You say your god is everywhere. Is he in this pillar?" The pillar cracks open, and out steps Narasimha.
Not a man, not a beast.
A man-lion. a hybrid that satisfies the first condition. He grabs the demon king. He drags him to the threshold of the palace doorway.
Not inside, not outside.
He places the demon on his lap.
Not on the ground, not in the sky.
The time is twilight.
Not day, not night.
And he disembowels the demon with his claws.
Which are not weapons.
He solved the puzzle.
Oh.
Every single condition is met. It's a powerful story about how the divine is always more clever than the legalistic, arrogant ego. You can't loophole your way out of karma.
That is just so deeply satisfying. Okay, so we have the creator, the preserver. Now we need the transformer, Shiva.
The great god, Mahadeva.
We often know him simply as the destroyer, but you said in the notes that's a bad translation.
It's too simple. It gives the wrong impression. He doesn't destroy out of malice. He dissolves the universe so that it can be refreshed and recreated. He is the cosmic reset button. He's the god of transformation.
The most famous image of him is the Nataraja, the Lord of the Dance. You see the statue in every yoga studio in the Western world. But what is he actually doing in that pose?
He is performing the Tandava, the cosmic dance of creation and destruction. But you have to look closely at the symbolism. In one of his hands, he's holding a small drum, the Damaru. That drum's vibration creates the universe. In another hand, he holds a flame. That fire destroys it. He is holding life and death in a perfect dynamic balance.
And the ring of fire he's dancing within.
That's the wheel. That's the Kala Chakra. That is the cyclical nature of time and the cosmos we've been talking about this whole time. He is dancing the universe into and out of existence over and over again.
There's a story about a rivalry between the three main gods that I think explains Shiva's supreme role perfectly. The pillar of fire.
The Jyotirlinga myth. Yes, this is the ultimate who's the boss story in Hindu mythology. Brahma and Vishnu are standing around arguing, I'm greater, I created everything. No, I'm greater, I preserve everything.
Just typical corporate infighting at the highest level.
Exactly. And suddenly this massive, infinite column of light appears between them. It rips through all the known worlds. It has no discernible top, no discernible bottom, just pure, blinding light.
So they decide to have a contest.
Yeah.
To measure it.
Right. They agree that whoever can find the end of the pillar is the greatest. Brahma transforms into a swan and flies up to find the top. Vishnu transforms into a boar and starts digging down to find the bottom. They travel for thousands of divine years. Vishnu digs and digs and sees nothing but endless, glorious light. And he has a moment of realization, this is infinite. This is bigger than me. He comes back to the surface, bows, and admits his failure. I could not find the source.
That's humility.
It is. Brahma, meanwhile, is flying up and up. He can't find the top either, but on his way down, he sees a Ketaki flower falling from above. He catches it and says, hey, listen, come with me and be my false witness. Tell Vishnu that I found the top and that you were there as proof.
He bribes the flower to commit cosmic perjury.
He lies out of ego. He comes down and proclaims, I found the top. Here is the flower to prove it. The flower confirms his story.
And Shiva does not approve.
Shiva bursts forth from the center of the pillar of light in his full, terrifying glory. He is furious at Brahma's lie. He creates a fearsome being, Bhairava, who cuts off one of Brahma's 5 heads.
Hold on. Brahma used to have 5 heads.
Originally, yes, according to this myth, one looking in each of the 4 directions and one looking up. Now he only has 4. And Shiva lays a curse on him. He says, because you lied, seeking glory and status, no one on earth will ever build temples for you or worship you.
And is that true? Has that held up?
Astonishingly, yes. You can go to India today and you will see thousands upon thousands of temples dedicated to Vishnu and Shiva. You can count the number of major temples for Brahma on one hand.
Wow. So it's a profound warning about intellect versus truth. Brahma represents the creative mind, the intellect, which thinks it can measure infinity and isn't above lying to prove its own greatness.
And Vishnu represents the soul that has the wisdom to know its own limits. And Shiva is the fundamental absolute truth that shatters the lie.
Okay, we have covered the team, the whole divine hierarchy. Now let's talk about the endgame, the concept of pralaya, the dissolution.
And this is where the scale of destruction gets truly terrifying and awe-inspiring.
The outline mentions a specific type, the Nimitika pralaya, the occasional dissolution.
This happens at the end of every single one of Brahma's days, which is a period of over 4 billion years. It starts with a drought that lasts for 100 years. All water on Earth and the other worlds evaporates. All life withers and dies.
And then the suns appear.
Not one sun, 7 suns. They align in the sky, and their combined heat becomes so intense that they burn the three worlds, Earth, the heavens, the netherworlds, to absolute ash. The entire physical universe becomes a burnt-out, charred shell.
And then it gets worse. Fire from below.
The Samvartaka fire. It's described as a cosmic dragon's fire that erupts from the mouth of the serpent Anantashesha in the netherworld. It consumes the ash, it consumes what's left.
And finally, rain.
Not just any rain. Clouds the size of galaxies appear. They are described as being multicolored and shaped like herds of elephants. They pour down rain, not for 40 days, but for 100 divine years, until the burnt ash turns into a slurry, then a sea. The entire universe becomes one single, dark, silent ocean. The Ekarnava.
It's basically a cosmic hard reset.
Yeah.
Formatting the entire drive.
Completely. Wiping everything clean. But, and this is my absolute favorite image in this entire deep dive, in the middle of this dark, terrifying, lifeless ocean, there is a lone survivor.
Markandeya.
The great sage Markandeya. He has a boon of immortality, so he doesn't die in the fire or the flood. He's just floating there, bobbing in the waves, completely alone. Can you just imagine the sheer horror and despair, the only living thing in a dead universe?
And then he sees something.
He sees a faint light. He swims towards it. And as he gets closer, he sees it's a single banyan leaf, impossibly floating on the waves. And on the leaf is a baby.
A baby. In the middle of the apocalypse.
A beautiful, glowing blue baby, happily sucking on its own toe.
This has to be a hallucination, right? He's lost his mind.
That's what Markandeya thinks. He's confused, he's astounded, he gets too close to the baby, and suddenly the baby takes a breath and inhales the sage, sucking him right into his nostril.
Into the baby's nose. You can't make this stuff up.
And inside the baby's body, Markandeya opens his eyes, and he sees everything, the entire universe.
Yeah.
He sees the earth not as a burnt shell, but vibrant and alive. He sees his own village, his ashram. He sees the rivers, the mountains, the stars, all the gods and goddesses. He sees the entire cosmos perfectly preserved, safe and sound.
It's a cosmic backup file, a zip drive.
Exactly. The baby is the divine, a form of Vishnu or Krishna. The destruction outside is real, but the essence of life, the blueprint of the universe, is stored safely inside the divine, waiting for the next creation. Markandeya is eventually breathed back out, and he understands, oh, I don't need to be afraid. The end isn't really the end.
That is just a beautiful, powerful image. It changes the apocalypse from a pure horror movie into a kind of cosmic rescue mission.
It's the ultimate image of hope in the face of annihilation.
But before we get to that floating baby, we have to finish our current timeline. We're in the Kali Yuga. How does it end?
This is prophecy time. The Bhagavata Purana and other texts lay out some pretty grim predictions for the very end of the Kali Yuga. It says that at its peak, things get really, really bad. The clouds will be full of lightning, but will give no rain.
That sounds uncomfortably familiar.
Trees will be stunted and small. Humans will become stunted, like dwarfs, living only for 20 or 30 years. Marriage as an institution will vanish. It will just be temporary arrangements for pleasure. Business will be nothing but fraud and deceit.
And then the savior, the Kalki avatar.
The 10th and final avatar of Vishnu, he is predicted to be born in a village called Shambhala.
And he's not a gentle teacher. He's not a diplomat.
No, his role is to be a cleanser. He arrives on a magnificent white horse named Devadatta. He holds a sword that blazes like a comet.
And what does he do?
He rides across the world, and in a great war, he kills the corrupt kings and the barbarian rulers. He destroys what the texts call the filth of the mind. It's a violent, necessary purging. But then the text says the wind that touches his divine body becomes fragrant with sandalwood. And when that pure wind touches the few survivors,
They change.
their hearts are instantly purified, their minds are cleansed, their DNA essentially is reset. They are transformed back into the spiritually and physically powerful humans of the Golden Age.
And the wheel clicks over. The Satya Yuga begins again.
The giants return, the age of meditation returns, the cycle starts anew, fresh and clean.
There is one last cool detail I wanted to mention. The 7 Chiranjeevis.
Ah, yes, the immortals.
This is the idea that there are 7 figures from past mythological ages who are still alive and hiding on Earth right now.
That's the belief, yes. Hanuman, the monkey god, is one of them. Parashurama, the axe-wielding avatar, is another. Vyasa, the sage who wrote down the epics, is a third. The belief is that they are waiting in hidden ashrams, perhaps in the Himalayas, waiting for the arrival of Kalki.
So they're a bridge between the ages.
They are the bridge. They hold the accumulated knowledge of the previous cycle so they can help teach it to the people of the new one. They are the seeds preserved in the ark, ready to be planted again.
So if you're hiking in the Himalayas and you see a really, really tall monkey, Maybe don't offer it a banana.
Or bow down. Could go either way.
Right. So we've done it. We've gone from nanoseconds to 311 trillion years. We've seen creation, preservation, destruction, and renewal.
It's a lot to take in. It's a cosmic roller coaster.
What is the legacy of this system? Why does this matter to a modern listener who might be an atheist or a Christian or just, confused by it all?
I think the biggest legacy is the concept of deep time. The famous astronomer Carl Sagan was a huge admirer of Hindu cosmology.
Well, was he really? I didn't know that.
He famously said in his Cosmos series that it was the only ancient religious tradition that talks about timescales that are even in the same ballpark as modern scientific cosmology. The age of the Earth being about 4.3 billion years, that's one day of Brahma, the estimated lifespan of our sun. These numbers match up in startling ways.
So it's like they intuited the sheer mind-numbing scale of the universe long before we had the telescopes to prove it.
They understood that we are small and that our lives are brief. And for you, the listener, I think that is the final takeaway. If you look at this wheel of eternity, you realize that your ego, your identity, your problems, they're just a costume. You're wearing a mask for a single scene in a play that never, ever ends.
And there's a profound freedom in that, isn't there?
Incredible freedom. If this is just one level in a cosmic game, you don't have to panic so much. You just have to play your part well with as much integrity and compassion as you can muster.
Play it well. I like that. The terror of the Samvartaka fire is balanced by the image of the baby on the leaf. Destruction is just a long sleep before the alarm clock goes off again.
The wheel just keeps on turning.
And hey, if you want to help our little wheel keep turning, make sure you hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening. Leave a review. It genuinely helps us keep the lights on here in this chaotic Kali Yuga.
We'll see you in the next cycle.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive.